And we are broadcasting live. Welcome to Phil's First Party Parlay, where we talk all things timely and topical in the insurance restoration industry. I'm Phil Sanoff, trial lawyer with Morgan & Morgan's Insurance Recovery Group. In Morgan & Morgan's Insurance Recovery Group, I have got 55 of the most awesome attorney colleagues you would ever want to know. We are in 25 offices, 13 states, all across the country. If you have any problem with any insurance claim, we can help you wherever you are. You can reach us through our website, forthepeople.com, hit pound LAW from any cell phone, anywhere, or just get me on my personal cell, 713-825-3444. Morgan & Morgan Insurance Recovery Group, come see us. Joining us tonight on the Parlay is one of my favorite colleagues. I'll explain why I say favorite colleagues here in a little bit. My friend, Jeff Gionet. Jeff, please hit that magic button and come see us, friend. All right.
Hey,
There he is. Thanks for being here, brother.
thank you for inviting me. Happy to be here.
All right. All right. Well, let me say this real quickly. For any attendees, if you have, I will watch the attendee list, Jeff, and I will watch the chat roll so that you can focus on giving us your answers, giving us the content for what we're going to be visiting about. Attendees, if you know how to do the electronic raise your hand function, I'll see that and I'll unmute you for you to ask Jeff your questions. If you'd rather just type out a question in the chat roll, you can do that, and I'll read Jeff the question if you have any questions or comments as we go. So Jeff, I need to explain the reason for not for right now, but the reason right this minute, not just for right now, but the reason right now that you're one of my favorite colleagues is you and I had a big, important jury trial coming up on a cast iron pipe case there in the federal court in Tampa. And what did you do with that sucker today?
Yes, sir. We settled it. It wasn't just me. We settled it.
Well, we got it done. We got it done. You worked hard, you worked it right, and we got the right result. So we thought what we were going to visit tonight was going to be, we always talk about three. I'm a trial lawyer. I believe in the power of three, the magic of three. And so we typically outline three things at the beginning of the show so people can have the forecast of what's coming. Then we go back and we talk about each one throughout the time segment. We were going to talk about the three biggest challenges we thought we might face with the jury in a few weeks. We're revamping that a little bit now based on that fantastic result that you got, but we're still going to have three things to talk about. Let me introduce you a little bit. Jeff, I don't want to gloss over that. My friend Jeff here, for folks that don't know and that see this when the video is repurposed and put out on various social media sites and other information gathering sources for folks to know about Jeff and our Tampa office. Jeff was a defense lawyer for many years, representing insurance companies against policyholders. One of the big reasons that Jeff and I have a big smile tonight is this case might have been against that former nameless law firm. And Jeff may have been kind of apprehensive or questioning, not apprehensive, but questioning of whether the law firm was going to do the right thing and get their client to pay what they should pay to Jeff's client. And sure enough, it came through today. So Jeff, you should be proud and celebrate the result that you got for this case. But that's one of the things that I love about Jeff. Jeff is able to help our clients now with the perspective of coming from the insurance defense world. What do insurance companies look at? What do insurance companies use to evaluate? And using that institutional knowledge that Jeff has, he uses that to now come and talk about how he helps give the clients the information that they need to be able to get the best result.
Yes, sir.
So Jeff, before we get into the 3 points that we're going to talk about, one of our attendees knows how to use the electronic raise their hand function.
Very
And
nice.
so I see that that's there now. I'm a man of my word. I'm going to go over to the attendee list and unmute one of our attendees and see what someone's got to say here, starting off with the question right straight off. Okay, attendee you're going to have to unmute yourself, I believe. Okay, there we are. We have a guest, Morgan, here, who is going to have it unmuted now to be able to visit with you, Jeff. Morgan, please proceed.
Sorry, I'm having some technical problems. I might have you get back to me.
Well, we can do that. Okay, please. I'm not able to. Okay, I'll mute you back. Come back to us when you can. Come back to us when you can, Miss Morgan. Okay, well, we hope that our attendee is able to resolve those technical difficulties. And Jeff, let's now talk about the 3 points that we want to highlight for people being able to see this later and understand what's going on with their potential cast iron pipe plumbing case.
Sounds great.
What are the 3 points that we're going to outline for them? Let's go ahead and have you introduce those.
Okay, the first point we're going to discuss today is how to identify a cast iron pipe loss.
Wonderful, wonderful.
The second bullet point we'll talk about is the type of coverage and the proceeds that are available to our clients under the policy.
I'm so glad you're going to talk about that because we've started talking to people. I've started talking to people all around the country about some potential cast iron pipe challenges that they may be having with their plumbing system. And they always come to me, how do I have coverage for that? I've only been in this house a few years. Those pipes are so old. How do I have coverage for that? So I'm really grateful that we're going to be able to address some of that this evening. So those are the first 2 points. What kind of loss do we look for to identify? What kind of coverage and what type of proceeds are our clients or the policyholders entitled to? What's going to be the third point we get to tonight, Jeff?
And the last bullet point is one of my favorites, is how the insurance companies try to get out of paying our clients.
Fantastic, fantastic. All right, well, with that first point, another important point. So many people are out there saying, well, how do I know? My plumbing system seems to work. It's a little bit slow sometimes, but I don't have big damages of problems with my plumbing. Jeff, please identify the types of things that folks should look for to see if we've got something we can help them with on their plumbing.
I would start off by saying the main place to look for is assessing the plumbing system. And we're not talking just the toilets. That could be many different utilities, including sinks. It could be inside an individual's laundry room. It could be even your kitchen sink giving someone trouble. That all could be caused by failures from their cast iron plumbing system.
When you say troubles, what type of troubles are the types that people that may not have in mind, unless they're having a big nasty overflow, they may not have that in mind. So what type of troubles other than that could people be having? And then you would say, oh my goodness, that's a cast iron pipe plumbing problem.
It definitely ranges. It's from anywhere from slow drainage to backups and overflows occurring in a shower, in a utility sink, or as well as just having slow drainage in other areas of the home, are all symptoms of a failed cast iron plumbing system or failing cast iron plumbing system. And it could be as little as just one backup or overflow, because that's what the homeowner typically sees on the surface. But the question is what's going on below the surface that the clients don't see.
Okay, and I want us to elaborate on that a little bit, please, Jeff, for me. So let's just, hypothetically, I'm a potential client. I've got drains that go slow, not backing up and causing a big mess, but my house was built around 1975, and I think I have cast iron pipe plumbing. I'm not positive. My drains are slow. That's not a big deal. I've got time. I can let the drains drain. I can take the time. Why is that a problem that I need to come talk to you about?
Well, that's just the starting point. And that's the starting point of the symptoms that the clients see are the slow drainage. But if you're having slow drainage, you have to imagine what's causing that slow drainage. And usually it's from wear, tear, and deterioration of the plumbing system that's been ongoing below the system for quite some time.
And then what could be happening if, say, that wear and tear, that corrosion, deterioration has caused some holes to come, some leaks to start underneath my slab, down in my backfill? What types of problems are we seeing there that when they look at their sink, oh, my sink is draining slow? What kind of problems are they having underneath that really cause more problems that we need to help them be aware of?
One thing that our plumber identifies almost every time he goes out to these failed cast iron plumbing systems are back pitched and bellies where these plumbing systems are holding water, and then which is causing the plumbing system to actually sag down. And then you start to see backups all the time because the water, instead of going down, has nowhere to go but back up.
Got it. Got it. So there's so much more going on beneath the surface. That's not just a hypothetical. There's so
Absolutely.
much, an anecdote. There is so much below the surface that we need folks to let us help them investigate if they're having symptoms like slow drains.
Exactly. And the case that we started off talking about today was actually a little bit different in that the clients didn't experience a backup or overflow from the toilet, but one day they were using the one of their bathrooms and they noticed that there was water damage behind the vanity in their sink. Their wallpaper was deteriorated and they saw some water staining. And sure enough, once we got our experts out there, it was clear that what was causing that was the failed cast iron plumbing system. And that was in spite of the fact that the toilet in that bathroom was flushing just fine.
And so these folks, I'm going to, I guess, let the cat out of the bag a little bit. These folks can't name names, not naming insurance companies, not naming our clients or anything of that nature. But these folks started with what they thought was a relatively routine, simple leak behind the vanity. And with our investigation, our experts, and your good work, we've now gotten them the right type of insurance proceeds that they should get to replace their entire cast iron pipe system in their entire house.
Absolutely, you nailed it. Because the symptom that the clients were able to tell was just the small water damage. However, when our experts went and actually took a closer look at what was going on beneath the surface, such as underneath the slab, they were identifying the bellies, the corrosion, the wear and tear. There was also some foul odors that were coming out from the plumbing system. And then that water was escaping underneath their home, and that was also causing issues.
Well, and that's the part that I tell people. I try not to be too morose about it or just too gross and nasty about it, but people were never intended to live over a pool of raw sewage. When these pipes leak, there is raw sewage leaking into their slab, leaking into their structural backfill that essentially has their house sitting on a pool of raw sewage. And thanks to your good work and getting the right result for these folks, they're now not only going to get new pipes, but part of that repair process is digging out all that backfill and taking care of all the sewage that their house was sitting on. Is that fair?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And also repairing the structural integrity of underneath what was going underneath their home as well. And the way that manifests itself is that our experts were able to identify using a moisture reader that water was actually not only escaping under the plumbing system, but then wicking itself up through the concrete slab. And putting a moisture reader on top of the slab near the drain lines, it was obvious that that's where the water was escaping to.
And folks never think of this, but the HVAC system in a home not only conditions and circulates the air, but when it pulls the moisture out of the air and it pulls up, that's what I've come to know from some of our contractor experts is, even in my own mind, how in the world could leaks from a drainage pipe cause the moisture meter in the living room to show a 99% moisture? But my friends, our friends, the contractors have explained how we live in these warm environments, these warm climates, and you've got your HVAC running all the time. The whole time you've got your air conditioner on, you're sucking that water up through your foundation, through your slab, and sure as heck, you're just destroying your structural integrity, as we found out in this case.
Absolutely. That's exactly what was happening in our case.
I just can't stop smiling. I try to smile all the time, just as a general rule. I try to smile when I'm on the Parlay show, because you never know when someone's going to be looking at you from out there in the blue nowhere. You need to be smiling. But I really can't stop smiling for you tonight, Jeffrey. You really crushed that case. I'm so glad for you getting that result.
Thank you. And most importantly, it was such a proud moment to be able to call the clients and let them know that that we were able to work their case and obtain the recovery that they deserved. Because we've had to work with the clients or had the pleasure of working with the clients for approximately 2 years throughout the litigation process. And it was a long, lengthy legal battle, but in the end, justice came for our clients.
So great, which really takes us in to our second point here. Unless you've got something you want to wrap that up, I would like for us to move into to talk about the type of coverage and the type of proceeds that you were able to get for these folks, that they've waited so much more than 2 long years that you've had the case, and that we've been working it up for them, that our firm has been working it up for them. What type of coverage, what type of proceeds are these folks entitled to? Because lots of folks I talk to that I come into contact with, how are you getting these people coverage for their pipes? These pipes are 40 years old. These pipes are 50 years old. And so with your experience, I would like for you to help explain to people, let's showcase for folks, what is the type of coverage that these folks are entitled to and the proceeds that you're getting for them?
Absolutely. Well, part of the policy premiums and the policy itself is taken as a whole. And there's different provisions within those policies, but the most important provision with respect to the cast iron plumbing system is the fact that if the plumbing system causes damage to an individual's property, the insurance companies will actually, the policies actually provide coverage for access and tearing out the failed cast iron plumbing system. And it's a small provision within your policy, buried beneath a lot of other words and provisions, but that's what it provides coverage for. That's what the insurance companies represent, that they're taking part of your premiums for as well.
Right. And so when people say that they know that the pipes are not covered, that it's rightfully understood the pipes aren't covered, we're not trying to get folks anything they're not entitled to.
That's right. And we agree with the insurance companies.
Right.
Even in the case we settled, we told the insurance company, we agree that the cast iron plumbing system to PVC transition is not covered. But that's not the expensive part for the clients. The expensive part is accessing their failed plumbing system, not the PVC material itself.
Have you had any challenges helping clients, helping people understand that that's what we're trying to do, is to get them the coverage that they're entitled to, that this access and then repair of the home to be able to replace the pipes is what you're doing? I ask that because some of the people that I've spoken with, some of the people that have come through our different efforts to make sure people know we're here to help them, haven't really understood that. So I just wonder, I'm in Texas, you're in Florida. What's been your experience? You've been doing these particular type cases for longer than I have. How does it go for you to be able to help people understand?
Absolutely. It's something I have to explain to the clients every time we talk, because the insurance companies really like to twist and bend the language on the policyholders. So they call me and they say, Jeff, how is this actually covered? I understand that the pipes aren't covered. So if the pipes aren't covered, then the claim's not covered. But that's not true. And the insurance companies are lying to the clients when they tell them that, because what they're not telling the clients is that the access portion, the access to the failed plumbing system, is in fact covered. And we've won that argument all throughout the state.
Which really segues us nicely into the next bullet point for you, the next topic point for you. What are these insurance companies doing? How are they trying to act like that they are not liable? What do they use as defenses when we come at them to try to get our clients their proper payments for their cast iron pipe system?
Certainly. Well, the first thing that they feed to the client is that the cast iron plumbing system isn't covered and that they don't pay for that. But once the case gets to us, they know that we know better. So then their defenses switch a little bit more, and they first the main one I see is that the damage was caused by wear and tear, and wear and tear isn't provided. And then the insurance company only quotes a portion of their policy, which shows that wear, tear, and deterioration is in fact not covered. However,
which cracks me up, because the same provision, right.
Within just a couple of sentences later, sure enough, the policy actually goes on to state, however, if wear, tear, and deterioration cause your plumbing system to cause water damage to the property, then the access portion of the coverage is triggered.
Fantastic. So we know that that's coming. That's in every denial letter. We don't pay for this. We don't pay for the pipes. And unfortunately, goodness knows that so many policyholders out there have probably filed claims and are sitting on those letters. And unless and until they come to understand from someone like us, they just think they've got to be out of pocket on all this and that they don't have any coverage for it.
Absolutely. And when you see these coverage letters that are drafted by the insurance companies and sent to the client, if I wasn't an attorney, I would believe them too.
Right.
They sound rock solid and they cite provisions. However, they cut and paste certain provisions that are favorable to them, and they don't let the policyholder know exactly what the policy says.
They stop 2 sentences too soon. They don't keep going and talk about the however portion that you just mentioned. Right.
You got it.
So that's the main defense that we see in the lawsuits. What are some other ways that the insurance companies try to use as defenses to paying what they rightfully should pay for these cast iron pipe plumbing system repairs?
Certainly. Why the wear, tear, and deterioration provision is almost always cited. The other favorite one by the insurance company is the constant and repeated seepage or leakage of water is the other provision they love to cite to. Now, there's two important things to understand. There are some policies that say that the constant and repeated seepage isn't covered unless the constant and repeated seepage is hidden. Because if it's hidden, like it was in the client's case, then that provision doesn't apply. The constant and repeated seepage provision doesn't apply at all because the leak is actually hidden.
Right. And if it's out there supposedly noticeable, then they can try to go with that as a defense, and we just have to keep counting, get them to, okay, it's your defense, it's your exclusion, you've got the duty to prove what day was it, what was the 14th day, when did it start, and we don't stop when they come at us with that, but that's something that they use quite a bit trying to get out of these payments.
Exactly. We make it clear to them that they need to prove every single word inside their policy that applies. So the first one being constant. Was the leak constant? Meaning, did it never stop and it constantly leaked? Most of the time in these cast iron plumbing cases, that's not at all what happens. The clients experience a backup once in a while or infrequently or sometimes frequently, but that still doesn't apply under the definition of constant.
Right.
And then the next word we look to would be repeated. So not only does it need to be constant, but then it needs to be repeated seepage and leakage of water, which occurs over a certain duration. Sometimes the policies say over a period of weeks, months, or years. Other times the policies allude to the 14 days, as you had said. But we make sure that the insurance company has to prove every single element of their defense.
Fantastic. Any additional ones that you see more than most? Any common defenses that you have to deal with?
Long term. They love to throw out the word long term. Oh, this damage is long term, therefore it's not covered. But as you and I both know, that's certainly not how it plays out. While long term damage may, in some instances, not be covered, however, the damage that we see that the clients experience is on the surface, so that when the toilets begin to back up and overflow, that's the event that triggers the coverage.
And if there's damage going into the next year for another policy year or damage from a year before of another policy year, we'll take those big targets. We like big targets. We'll sue them for every year that we have to sue them for. Our clients are entitled to those type insurance proceeds.
Absolutely. And you know what? The clients in the case that we recently settled, they had been insured by their homeowners insurance for over 20 years, never once made a claim.
Wow. And here they are, and their claim was denied, but they got Jeffrey Gionet, and we're done.
Yes, sir.
I'm so happy for you. Well, we've got 6 minutes left for tonight, but I wonder if we're not through. I want you to go celebrate. I know your wife and your young son are there. I don't want to cut you off if you've got more points to talk about, but I also want you to know that we are mindful that you need to go celebrate your great success this evening. So we'll keep you here for 6 more minutes if you've got content, but otherwise we're grateful for you, and let's just see where we go.
I think one other thing that you and I should talk about that we did talk about briefly was the amount of expenses that John Morgan and Morgan & Morgan in general put up front in the cost of some of these files.
Right, please. So we've got thousands of these files in Florida alone, and now we're starting to expand to Mississippi, to Florida. I'm in Texas. I'm sorry, we said Florida, to Mississippi, Tennessee. I'm in Florida. I know they're going to be in Georgia, things of that nature. So what an amazing investment. What an amazing conviction that John and Morgan are putting forth here. Let's talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, absolutely. We're talking 5 figures are what John Morgan is putting out upfront in costs on just this file alone. And that 5-figure didn't start with a 1, but it starts with a 2. They were in it over $20,000, and that was just for this one file. And that's what really separates this law firm from a lot of other law firms, is that we, without a doubt, put the money forward in to litigate these cases as long as it needs to be to get it through trial. There's a lot of other law firms that don't have that kind of money to invest $20,000 plus, never mind times the number of files that they have spread out throughout the law firm.
5 figures of just these cast iron pipe cases in Florida and throughout the country, and 5 figures invested into each case at risk of we've got to recover to be able to get that back. If we don't recover, then we certainly don't go get that from the client or anyone else. That's just our doing business.
Absolutely. Not a dollar would we ever ask that back from the client.
Fantastic. Good stuff. Good stuff, Jeff. Well, this has been one of my favorite shows. I don't think that how often, it's going to be awfully rare that we get to have someone on the show when we've just worked together and 2 hours beforehand, we got the right settlement for the right folks after such a hard fight. I'm so happy for you. Go celebrate. Go celebrate.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. And it was a team effort. I would like to mention that the case didn't settle until after Phil filed his notice of appearance on the case. But yes, absolutely. It was a great win for the clients, most importantly.
We worked it up right. I'm so glad that I've gotten to know you. We're going to have so many more together. Let's just keep doing the right thing for these clients. Keep getting the right results for these
Thank
folks.
you.
We get them what they
very
deserve.
much.
So I'm going to take us home now. Jeff Gionet, thank you so much. Congratulations. Go celebrate your victory. Enjoy your family. Phil's First Party Parlay, presented by Morgan & Morgan Insurance Recovery Group. If you have any problem with any insurance claim, we can help you wherever you are. Come see us. Good night.
Thank you, everyone.